Tell me a little bit about your experience going into the luxury market and what you've learned actually makes a good luxury real estate agent.
I think, getting into real estate itself, you have to talk to people and you have to gain their trust and gain their confidence in you as their real estate agent. So when you're representing their home, whether it's $229,000 or $2.9 million, you've got to then impress upon them your experience, your professionalism, and your confidence. And you've got to know what you're talking about. And while I represent a full range of properties, recently I've been into a little bit more of the luxury market. But, as I'm talking to somebody who may have a $229,000 condo, it's again, marketing, time on market, exposure, and what I can do to get them the best price per time frame that they want to then move on to their next home, and what I can do as far as adding value to that transaction. When I talk to a luxury seller, it's similar situation, similar conversation, but the quality of the home, the components in the home, the amenities in the home, the features that they've lived in and they've used are some things that you've got to be knowledgeable about. If there's Nest thermostat in your $300,000 home, that's great. But what if it's a whole restaurant system that has, the whole house is, controlled by one small iPad? Are you aware of that? Are you knowledgeable about it? Do you know how to open up those sliding glass doors electronically for the open house and for showings? And so you got to be knowledgeable about it and comfortable and confident with them to know that when you entrust me to show your home, it's just like I've lived here for 10 years or however long you've owned this home. There are just a whole host of luxury listing agents, and they'll put the sign out, they'll put it on MLS, and maybe if they're with a larger brokerage or a smaller one, it just, the more listings they have or the more listings that are on there, eventually they get some showings. But then how do you market those homes to that type of target audience? And again, we can talk about social media, and then you can maybe do some ads and do some boosts and do some pushes towards a certain market entity. If you're on a golf course, you're going to target golfers, you're going to target people who love that type of environment or that type of open space, etc. And so, you can just say, well, hey, I got the listing, I put the sign out front, and it's on MLS, which is, the big starting position. But then again, not everybody sees it on MLS either, so you just have to market it. But then, again, you can look at all kinds of different pieces of that agent that has to then interject his professionalism and his experience into each component of that home. And if they were in the home and they saw this special feature, or maybe it's not just a certain tile, maybe it's a French Beaumonet limestone that was imported and it's the only limestone tile that's available right now. It's a pretty big deal, especially at 30 inches, squares, versus most of it you're looking at 24. So that's a feature that can be accented, marketed, and even showcased more. And then also it's just about the value they've placed on that home. How much money did they put into it when they bought it? Maybe they built it. Maybe then they've invested a lot of time, energy, and emotion into that home, having it built. So with luxury sellers and buyers, it's just really about knowledge base. It's about knowing that market and knowing the not only just the demographic of what's around there and the amenities that location may afford, but really just the geography as well. From the financial geography to the spatial geography to just economic geography, all that stuff that's related to that home and why it's there and why it's priced at $2.9 million.